this is Rusty, and welcome once again to Dad's Desk. For this set of tutorials, we will create a project that connects to a Microsoft Access database. Then, through the use of SQL commands, we will look up a customer's name by allowing the user to enter in the customer number. Once a match is found, we will give our user the ability to display the customer's purchases. There are multiple tables in this database, so let's take a look at them before we actually get started with our example. I'm going to open up Access right here, and you can see in this one, let's kind of drag it up just a little bit so we can see it a little bit better. There's a customer table right here, and our customer numbers are here: the first name, the last name, the street, city, state, and zip code. I kind of made up a lot of the cities right there, as well as actually almost all of the data I made up. Then we also have the purchases table down here. This has a list of the customer number over here. The ID number, is actually a purchase number, and that's just an auto increment field. Then we have the item number. Now the item number is tied to the inventory table. I don't want to put in each one of these as we go along and say, okay, this is the item number and this is the item, when I can keep things much better organized by just having it in the inventory table, and then the quantity that they purchased. In the real world, I would probably also put some additional data out here. Now, on the inventory table, we have the item number right there that is tied to the item that they purchased, the item name, the price, the manufacturer, the quantity on hand, and some additional data that we can be looking at. Okay, so let's get started on this one just as an example to show you how everything works. So I'll just do an F5 on this one. Now there is the chance that they might type in an invalid customer number. So if I type in a customer number, let's say of 10102, just forgot a number there, click on lookup, it's going to come back and tell me customer is not found, that this is not a valid customer ID. And I look at it and go, oh, that's right. So I'll put in 101-102, click on lookup. And it says that that person is Sandy Beach. Also lists the customer number there that I had. Once we find a valid customer, this display button right here becomes enabled. By default, it is not enabled. And I click on that one, and it comes back and it says, oh, very good, this is what they have purchased. Now I also have a reset button, so I can click on the reset button. What if they did not make any purchases? Let's find someone who did not. So I have 101114, that one. Look that up. I'm a nut. Click on display, and it comes back and says no purchase made for I'm a nut. Okay, very, very good. Click on reset on that one and we can continue. Okay, so let's get started on this project. And as you can see on the screen, I have created a new project. I call this one Table Joins because we will use the inner join statement when we link the purchases from the purchases table and the inventory table. And we will talk more about that once we get into that coding. But just for our purposes right now, the basic design is I have a text box right here called TXT Customo for the customer number. I have a label box that kind of looks like a text box called LBL Customer, and then three buttons: BTN Lookup, BTN Display, and BTN Reset. Okay, very, very good. Let's go ahead and double click on this one. And between the videos, as I was creating this, I also set this one when I renamed the form to FRM Purchases, and I did it as FRM Purchases as opposed to maybe my standard one of FRM Main, because later on, way down the line, I might want to incorporate this into a larger project, more of a business-oriented project, and then I've already got it named when I import it into that project. Okay, so let's go in here, and I'm going to pause for just a moment while I add in my documentation. I'll be right back. All right, there we go, and you can pause the video to put in your own documentation. There are several variables. Now, what I also did when I created this one is I copied my database into this particular folder, and I will even try to make the database available for download. I have it in two formats, as a .accdb access database and also a .mdb, a little earlier version of Microsoft Access. Okay, so those two are available that I'm using on this one. Like I say, I'll try to attach them to this video as a zipped file that can be downloaded should you so desire to do that. Now, if I were using the older database, I would say something like dimension for my connection string, CONN, str capital S as string, and that it equals double quotes provider equals Microsoft dot jet dot OLEDB object linking embedding database dot version 4.0 semicolon and double quote spacebar ampersand spacebar, because I always like to put the data source on the next line equals accounts dot mdb. Very, very good. Now, if I'm using the ACCDB database, I'm going to change that. So I'm going to copy this one initially. I'll remark this one out in just a moment. So copy and Control V to paste, because it's going to give me an error saying you've already defined this once, and yes, I have. But I'm going to change this now for the connection string to be provider equals Microsoft.ace. Take that out. OLEDB, instead of 4, it's 12. There we go. And instead of accounts MDB, it's ACCDB. Take out the rest there. And since I'm only using one, I'll just remark those two lines out. And if I need them later on for whatever reason, I can put them back in and remark those lines out. Now, the other variables that I will be using is for the SQL statement itself. That'll be my data source. So I'll say dimension str data source as string. Not going to give it any value right now. The name that I will use, I will pull their last name, their first name, and their account number, you might recall, into this variable to display it into that label box. Dimension str name as string. A little blank line just so I have it. The customer number, I will be referencing that. So dimension str cust no as string. And then the customer display, I think I used that one at some point. I'll put it in here right now anyway. Dimension str cust disp as string. There we go. Very, very good. Okay, I'm going to do a save all at this point, and just in the interest of time, we'll pick things up on the lookup button in the next video. But as always, thank you for watching.